So, to those of you who don't know who John Heckman is, he is a gentleman who has earned his graduate degree in history at Shippensburg University in 2013. He went on to work alongside the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers as an archivist and historian. And then in 2015, from the confines of his cubicle, John started the Tattooed Historian on social media. Originally, he began this quest to showcase behind the scenes work as an archivist and quickly realized thousands of people followed his page and they just wanted more accessibility to history. Uh, by 2018, he left his job there and pursued the Tattooed Historian brand full time. Since then, he's led multiple live stream tours of historical sites, interviewed some of the top of America's historians on his podcast, The Tattooed Historian Show, and has spread the reach of his brand across 10 online platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. Currently, John is pursuing his PhD in digital humanities and technology at Brock University, which is located in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, where he lives with his wife and their only child, their cat named Leia. So I am going to turn the rest of the evening over to John.
Thank you, CG, for that wonderful introduction. See, it's not that hard to do introductions. I know it makes you nervous, and you did
Yeah,
great. So
there you
thank
go.
you for that.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thank you also to the Cumberland County Historical Society for having me speak on this topic, which is my second topic that I've uh, been honored with speaking about for the Historical Society. It really means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me that we can discuss this very important issue. I have PowerPoint all set up, and you can see it now on your screen. And I'm going to be progressing through that. And I have no other script because I hate scripts. I hate being scripted. I don't like even having bullet points. I am very much a person who loves to live in the moment and experience events in the moment. Something that CG would hate probably having to do because she gets nervous with an introduction, but that's okay. Um, it's one of these things that I love to just interact with people, and I really enjoy hearing what people have to say about certain things. And this kind of presentation is a little bit different than the one that I usually do. Previously, for the Historical Society, I talked about gaming and in the humanities. I had a presentation about a First World War game and how it intersects with history. Now I'm a memory and narrative scholar in the digital humanities program. So I look at how we have developed historical memory over generations based on what people perceive in the moment that the event occurs and how we face that idea of what reality is for people. And as you're ingesting all this information, you're also sometimes intersecting with some very dark moments in history, with some hard truths. And at times, this can be a task for us. And this is why this talk this evening is as important as any talk I've given, and with life experience as well. I have a special love of this topic, so I hope that all of you get something out of this. It is definitely something different for me to do. You're going to see me peer off to the side here because I have a second monitor with the presentation on that I'll be going through. So I'm just going to peer over here, make sure I'm on the correct slide, and then I'm going to come back and see all of you here in the room. But the title of my talk this evening is Historians' Well-Being, Preserving the Past While Nurturing the Self. Now more than ever, we discuss mental health, and I am very thankful for that. And that is why tonight's presentation is so very important to someone like me. As CG said, I'm from South Central Pennsylvania. Went to Shippensburg University, earned my MA in 2013. And I was 32 years old when I earned my MA. I was 30 when I earned my BA. So I wasn't a student who came straight from high school and went on to earn his 2 degrees. I had some really interesting life experiences, if let's say, and it made me a better student. It made me a better person, and I've grown since then. Obviously, I've gotten older. I'm now 43. As was stated, I'm currently a doctoral student in Ontario, Canada, moving steadily towards 11 years of sobriety. This is a big thing to go along with our mental health talk. I am a fourth generation alcoholic. And so I stopped drinking 11 years ago on July 4th of this year. So every year we have fireworks for my celebration of being sober, is what I tell people. And it makes me stay sober that way because I have a lot of fun. So, really want to press that home about authenticity, who we are as a person, what has defined us, what has made us who we are today. I do have a previous history of depression and anxiety, and that really plays into our talk tonight. And this is all me being straightforward with you about who I am and why this is such a big deal to discuss. And some of the issues with anxiety has come from the thing I'm passionate about. And I think that's why we need to cover issues such as this. For this conversation, we're going to face our challenges as people who work in the humanities or who just enjoy studying the humanities. And we're going to counter the negative that we encounter with empathy and strength. Empathy is a huge word in my life. I believe that we need more of it, and it's something that we need to embrace as a strength quality. This is something that the loud voices kind of drown out, and I think that we need more of it in our lives, and we'll discuss that going forward. We're facing a changing landscape in the history field and the humanities field in general, whether you work in art or you work in literature or whatever the case may be. There are a lot of discussions out there that are begun in bad faith, and they tend to be the loudest discussions. We see it online all the time. We see the negative, and they tend to be the loudest ones in the room. We're facing cuts to funding of public history programming. This has been going on for years and years, and it's getting worse and worse in many cases. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm just trying to say that these are some things we must discuss and think about how we can counter in the future. And we'll discuss that here in a bit. The hype for STEM programs. This was my big one. All of my friends who work in science seem to get a lot of money, and I seemingly took a vow of poverty. And so that can be way heavy on you when bills come due and things like that. So, how do we create a community to fight back in a positive way and make this STEAM, add an A in there for arts instead of simply STEM? And we're seeing this more in the modern era than we did 10 years ago. Especially here where I'm at now in Canada, it's all STEAM, it's not STEM. There's still an appreciation for the arts. So we'll discuss that and more. This is really a talk about a lot of different qualities that we need to counter with positivity and empathy and understanding that we don't know it all. Our programs are not built for everyone, but we try to be inclusive as much as we can because this is so vital to our future. History can be rough. This is an understatement. It's not for the faint of heart. Being uncomfortable with countless moments in history is just natural. If you are not uncomfortable with history in some ways, you're not studying history. You are studying propaganda. That's it. That's the whole thing right there. I grew up being okay with a little bit of darkness in my life. That's how I survived the history field. You kind of have to go a little bit dark at times. You have some dark humor. You try to figure out how can I read through these very tough histories and still come out with a good mentality. You learn something, you understand that there are moments in history that kind of rhyme with these very bad moments throughout the past, but you try not to get downtrodden about everything and you try your best to move on to something more positive. As I say on this slide, and this is really rare for me to have a lot of text on a slide, but this is such an important topic. I put a lot of text. Tough histories can lead to exhaustion and anxiety, and when you take in all this data. So, as I say, histories of enslavement or the Holocaust are especially heavy, and we really witness this when you go to a museum that is devoted to those two subjects. You can feel it. You can feel how heavy the aura is, how heavy the history is. So, after a while, we need to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves while we engage with this heavy history. It is not in any shape or form good to simply ignore it because it was bad. We need to embrace it in a different way. That doesn't mean you glorify it. That just means you appreciate it and you respect it and you understand the history. Far too often, some people see it as glorifying if you read about it too much, and we cannot allow that to happen. This is a big one for me, manufactured competition. Um, there's a lack of available funding, and we have people who are competing for views and clicks and all kinds of stuff. So they will manufacture competition. They will say things like, I wish I had that many people on my tour. How does that person have so many people on their tour? I'm better than they are. They start going into the negative instead of saying, wow, I'm really happy for them to have that many people focused on what they're talking about. Or someone else that maybe you're in class with gets a better grade on a paper and you felt it, you should have deserved that. Starting to get into that competitive mindset, and that's how the wheels start going on the jealousy train. And there's a lot of jealousy in the humanities, and there's a lot of jealousy in the world basically, but we have it in the humanities where people are worried about what they're doing and trying to compare themselves with others. And I really believe that comparing yourself to others is that gateway drug to jealousy. And that really is not constructive for what we wish to do. So when you combine those tough histories that someone is ingesting, that can be a little weighty for you and can weigh on your soul, if you will. And on top of that, you have this manufactured competition from someone else who's trying to compare themselves with you. You're fighting two battles at one time. You're fighting on two fronts. And that gets really intense. And believe me, I have the emails to prove it that this can get really intense, and it's really something that you must keep in mind. That you'll be reading about battles, but you might be fighting one yourself. But just be prepared for it, and we're going to talk about ways to prepare for that here in a future slide, because this isn't all doom and gloom, my friends. We get enough of that when we study tough histories. We're not going to do that here. That's also why I'm using Bitmojis in here and trying to, lighten it up just a little bit with some of those. As I said, the toll on mental health. Many good historians I've known have walked away. They say there's not funding and there's too much drama, and I'm walking away. And I've known several good historians who have done this. They have said that it's just time for me to pursue something else, or I'm going to take what's second best for me. And history is just going to be my side hustle, if you will, my side passion. Some have left their state of residence. And this goes back to political mindset. Some have left their nation due to threats of violence against them for talking about tough histories. Uh, the humanities brain drain is very real. We are losing great historians due to this. And there have been several of my colleagues who have gotten death threats. There have been several others who have been threatened in bodily harm, or I'm going to burn your house down, or whatever else. Imagine that weighing on you while you're discussing these tough histories and while you're trying to say, I have the primary source documents. This is what history is. So we have this brain drain going on currently as we speak. Some people are leaving the field today. So let's keep this in mind. So, for those of us who remain, what can we do? This is my case for overwhelming the negative with good works, and good works come in various forms and shapes and sizes, and we're going to go over those. I want us to destigmatize our struggles. There's going to be tough times. There's going to be missed opportunities. Grant funding's not going to come through. Believe me, it's happened to me. If you work for a nonprofit, I'm sure it's happened to you. If you work for a museum, etc. We all have experienced it if we worked in public history or we work in a research position. Sometimes the grant funding doesn't come through. Sometimes we're fighting with 1,000 people for one grant. It's really tough. So we have to react to those setbacks in a positive way. And my way of doing it is I love being underestimated. That's my thing. I always say I have a positive chip on my shoulder. I have the shoulder where it said, or the chip on my shoulder says, okay, I'll show you. I'll show you I can do it. Let's do it. So being underestimated is my thing. I love it when someone underestimates me and says I can't do it. All right, I'll see you in a couple years. I'll show you that I can do it. Stumbling blocks must become stepping stones. We're going to face a lot of adversity with funding, with jobs, etc. It's not the end of the line for you if you don't allow it to be the end of the line. Okay. Some people will walk away, but others are going to be focused on trying to change things. I want you to be the latter. I want you to focus on trying to change things. Be a loud voice for positive change. Here's some things that have been said to me, and this is just a short list of things that have been said to me. But I want you to look in that black box to the side. Every negative thought you have about yourself has been planted there by somebody else. I want you to remember that. You're not born thinking you're a bad historian. You don't come in as an undergrad thinking that you suck as a historian. No. Someone has come along and told you that, and that voice has gotten in your head, and you've taken on that voice. So every negative thought you have about yourself, whether it's in the history field or life in general, this is everywhere. Okay. Every negative thought you have has been planted there by someone else. It's kind of like violence. Violence is a learned behavior. I want you to think of it that way. So are these negative thoughts. It's a learned behavior. Someone's planted that in your head and you've taken on that voice. So let's push past that as best as we can. It's a very hard lesson to learn. It takes a while, but you can learn it. It's like building a muscle when you go to the gym. You're not going to go in your first day and bench press your body weight, okay? If you do, congratulations, but most of us are not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to build up muscle. This is all the same idea, but it's all a part of your mental process. Think of your brain as a muscle and you just have to keep at it and keep going. Okay. So self care really, really matters. And I'm putting this stuff out there for you to see because I want you to see that I still get these to this day. After all these years, I still receive these. So, hey, I guess sometimes you have to remember that you may wake up in the morning thinking you're this nice, juicy apple, but some people like bananas more. It's just the way it is. We're not for everybody, right? We have to think about this in a little different way. But here's a big one, our strength and community. I want you to build a community of allies, close friends in your field of study, or people that you aspire to be like, a mentor or something to this effect. Just a small group of people. Find allies who are good at something that you struggle with. I have friends and allies who are really good at grant writing. I am terrible at that. So they're my ally. And maybe I can help them do something that they don't like, a live stream of something or photography or whatever the case may be, podcast editing, but they can help me with grant writing. So think of it as this coalition of people working together. You need this community to surround yourself. Surround yourself with people who will give it to you straight. I love this one. Not those who believe you're the greatest. Okay. It's one thing to receive those messages I just showed you from random people. It's another when you get called out for maybe not doing the job you could have done, or someone says, you could have done better with this. That's kind of that idea of having, tough love, and from someone that you admire, someone you respect, someone who has your phone number and can text you. If you don't have my phone number, it's kind of like you don't really know me. But here, when you have someone that you trust and you admire, and they give you those tough love moments, you take it to heart and you listen to it. My main mantra is, if you're the smartest one in the room, find a different room. Don't be the smartest person in the room. You're not going to learn anything like that. Get out of the room and go somewhere where you are not the smartest in the room. Don't be afraid to be challenged, to be better. Some people come back at you when you challenge them. That's fine, but that's on them. You've tried your best to help in a certain way, in a very kind way. But how uh, we're only responsible for our responses. Okay. So think of that going forward. Be mindful, be present, engage with your research and with your audience, kind of like I do. I'm all over the place when I'm in front of people. I'm having a good time. I'm working the room, but we're talking about history and we're engaging with the past. And I'm asking questions of the audience, and it's a give and take, right? So be present always. Be curious. Curiosity about your work is infectious. If you can make someone curious about your work, maybe they're going to help you to get the funding that you need, or maybe they're going to help, beef up your numbers on a tour or whatever else. You need to give and give and give instead of asking for more and more and more, right? We need to be able to use that curiosity to make other people curious and maintain an openness about your work. I'm very good at this. I'm very open about my work. I'm very open about life and what I've done and what I've been through, because maybe I can prevent someone from making the same mistakes I did, or maybe I can push someone to do more, and many times do more than I can do, because I'm seeing how, if you're an undergraduate right now and you're like 20 or 21 years old and you're watching this, you can do more technologically than I can do right now. I'm trying to keep up with you. So I'm going to keep pushing you to do more, because I can't do it myself. I want you to be able to do it, because I would love to learn from you. That community coming back together, right? And this is a huge one. Be ethical. Promote integrity, diversity, and empathy. Uh, you need to contribute something larger than yourself. This is a big one right now. When you see me do presentations, you usually see me on with someone else. I love to promote other people. And some people really enjoy that fact. Some people don't like that fact. That's fine, but I'm constantly talking about empathy, integrity, and diversity. The three things that we need to use in our field of study to counter some of this negative that has come through. If we can really make our community larger through these kinds of ideas, we can fight back in a positive way and say we're just as relevant as someone who's studying engineering, because I wasn't that good at math, so I went for the history field. And but we're just as valuable to society. We need to be considering that for our future. Learning from setbacks. A setback, it's an opportunity. It's not a loss. And I know this is tough when you don't get that job and the bills are starting to come in and you're starting to question yourself. Maybe I'm not a historian. Maybe I don't want to work in the history field. Maybe I'm not an artist. Maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe this is a chance for you to refine your skills, or ask for advice, or start building that community a little bit more. Networking is a great thing when you can do it. And now it's easier than ever. You can get into someone's messages on Instagram and start, talking about doing a live stream together or something like that. In fact, I think that's how CG got in touch with me to do the first event, was through uh, messaging me on Instagram. So it's never been easier for you to do networking, reach out, try to get to meet new people. I even tell students in my seminars, if you really think of someone online, like another historian who you would aspire to be, reach out to them. Sometimes they answer back. Uh, you didn't get that grant you wanted? Well, go to your community of allies. Like I said, I know someone who writes grants and they can help me do this. They do it a lot better than I do. Don't complain on social media when you don't get a job. It's not going to help you. And sometimes employers are going to look at your social media and you're complaining about not getting jobs. Uh, Perhaps, just perhaps, a change in your direction with the history field or with critical thinking is what is actually happening right now. And we can talk about this. I think my next slide, I hope it's my next slide, talks about this. Yeah, here we go. Adapting to change. See, it works. Technology works for me today. Sometimes we become entrenched in our field of study and we say, nope, I'm only going to work on this and this is it. I can do nothing else. And this is how some people get burned out and they get anxiety and they get frustration because maybe that field is not hiring right now, or maybe that's not the hot thing, quote unquote, right now. Or maybe it's overloaded with a lot of people right now. But when you are a historian, you are heavily engaged in critical thinking. And now more than ever, critical thinking skills are being asked for by a lot of entities out there in the real world. So I've known historians who've gone on to governmental work. I've known historians to go on to work for corporations who are doing marketing campaigns. There's all kinds of different avenues for you now. It's not like I'm either going to be a historian or I'm going to, go be a dog walker. There's other things you can do as a historian because you have the training with these critical thinking skills. Okay. So there's a lot out there. We also hear the latest gossip about technology. Uh, I'm looking at you, AI, as I say. There's been a lot of misinformation on AI, and there's been a lot of bad takes on AI. As someone who is in a department now that is building a major in artificial intelligence, I can tell you that a lot of you are scared and you really probably shouldn't be scared that they're going to take your jobs. They said the same thing about the printing press, the typewriter, the telephone, and we can go right down the line. This is just another step. Okay. Embrace that change. How can we make this a tool for us and a tool for our future, not freaking out online over the latest technology because that's not going to stop the train that's moving forward, right? Think positively. How can I use this to my advantage as a professional and then share that with others? That's the way we do it. And that's the way we can conquer that kind of mindset. Setting realistic goals. This is a big one. I've said that a lot on this talk. This is a big one. This is an important one. All these slides, I guess, are important in one way or another to some of you. Okay, one of you was going to say, "Oh yeah, this is what I need to say." Everyone starts off with no experience, none. Everyone starts with no social media followers. You start at zero and you work your way forward. That's it. Someone who has 30,000 YouTube subscribers or someone like me who has like 1,500, both of us started at zero. That doesn't mean that they are light years ahead of me. That just means that they popped earlier than I did. That doesn't mean that I'm less of a historian than they are. It just means that they had better luck at getting people to watch their stuff. And that's great. There's no competition there because there's no comparison, right? Each of you is your own brand of historian, artist, musician, whatever else. We're all fingerprints on a much larger scale. So I don't want you to compare. So we all start at zero. That's your way of saying we're not going to compare with each other. We all started at the same place. We're all on equal ground here. Growth does not happen overnight. I've had the tattooed historian since 2015. We're going on 9 years now. There's been ups, there's been serious downs, there's been great times, there's been very dark times. But that's business. too, and that's brand, and that's all kinds of stuff. Forget the pandemic years. Uh, there's bad stuff before that. Numbers dropped, numbers rose. It just depended on the time. That's natural. So I don't want you to take that personally, and I don't want you to think that you are no longer relevant. Everyone in here is relevant, and you all have a voice and something that you enjoy doing, whether that's video or audio or just going on a tour or whatever else. Beautiful. Do more. Enjoy it. That's what we love to see. Many of those who burn out do so because they focus on the goal, the end goal, and not the process. I want you to love the process. I've been going for almost 9 years and I have no idea what the goal is. I don't. I don't know what's at the end of the rainbow. I have no idea. I love the day-to-day work. I love the day-to-day life. I love sending out the emails to try to get another interview for someone to promote their book, or trying to get someone to come on and do another live stream where there are no rules and we just have fun. That's what I enjoy, and that's what I want you to enjoy in life in general. Everyone in here has a goal in life. I want you to enjoy the process to get to that goal. It's not always about the goal, it's about the process. It's about putting one foot in front of another and just keep going and keep going. I think far too often we think I'm going to get that job as a curator and I'm going to make good money and I'm going to be set, when you don't realize at first, you got to clean up the archive. It's just the way it is. So that's the first step. You got to get used to that. Okay. Or you're going to be working the front desk on a Saturday when you wish you were with friends. That's the way it is. Enjoy the process. Enjoy that, because someday you're going to look back and be like, wow, it was simpler when I just worked the front desk on a Saturday than what I have to deal with now. Believe me, it will happen. So, good goal setting there that my little avatar is pointing to. Make it specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And realistic, I want you to underscore that. Make it realistic. Okay. Celebrating milestones. I know as a sober person, it's kind of weird to put me popping a bottle of champagne in there, but it's an avatar. It's fine. Sometimes big battles are won on small skirmish lines. That's a saying that I came up with one evening when I had an epiphany, and I thought that sounds kind of cool. I might put that on something. Uh, Appreciate the small victories. There's going to be a lot of small victories rather than those big victories. Remember, it's the process. The goal is the big victory. The process allows you to have those little victories. I want you to celebrate each of those victories. I want you to be like, wow, we did a good job cleaning up this area in the museum, or wow, I wrote 500 words today for this, or I did this editing on this podcast today. Celebrate it. Enjoy the process, because that's going to keep you going. It's going to allow you to embrace it. To constantly be, quote, hustling without taking breaks or cheering yourself on is detrimental to your mental health. I'm guilty of this. I will freely admit that. Back in like 2015, 2016, 2017, I was all about hustle until you drop. Just make this work and keep going and keep going and keep going. And I did drop, and I dropped hard, and I didn't get back up for a while. So doing that is detrimental. Please don't do that, because when you're dropping, then STEM takes over. I really don't want those engineers to get all the praise. That's my thing. Don't constantly hustle. Don't do it until you break. Those who truly believe in you will be there for you and help you out in that situation. And these are the people who have helped you along the way. You didn't do it all yourself. These are the people who gave you that tough love. They're not yes people. I don't like having yes people around where they just say yes to everything. This isn't good for you psychologically and mentally, because when there is something that happens that's bad, you're looking around and everyone told you were going to be the greatest. It's not a good thing to have, right? And we see this in the history field too. People were propped up saying they're so great, they're so great, and then they have you know a bad week, and then they want to leave the field. So we need to be honest with ourselves and honest with each other. And that is really important. But I want you to celebrate those small victories. They are huge. And it never hurts to have a little mini celebration. Okay. For me, it's an extra glass of milk. I gotta say. But for you, it can be a Yingling or whatever else. I don't care. I don't mind. But enjoy it. Enjoy the process. And this is for life in general too. A lot of this stuff. Enjoy the day to day life. We all have our goals of doing something great in the future, leaving behind a positive legacy. You got through today, and you're still here, and you're doing okay. So let's celebrate that. I think that's very important. This is a big one for me. Constructive criticism. I have been labeled as a terrible person because I have given constructive criticism, and I have received a lot of constructive criticism. And at first, I took offense to it because I wasn't used to it. But now, and within the last 5, 6, 7 years, I embrace it. Before the pandemic, I was told by colleagues and friends that I hadn't had enough Black voices on my content, and they were right. I didn't have enough LGBTQ plus voices, and even women who were authors and historians, because my friend group tended to be more male. And so sometimes you lean on your friend group a little too much and you get comfortable. And while that's natural, it doesn't mean it's always right. And I had to learn from others that that does not, really appeal to a large audience, number 1. Number 2, it's not right. And number 3, it makes you look like you only care about one kind of person. And we are a large fabric of people, and that we are of all different shapes, sizes, colors, creeds, orientations. So we need to bring everyone on board. So instead of going on the defensive, which sometimes I would have done when I was younger, I said, you know what? You're right. I'm going to do that. And that's very important to me. My content has become more diverse over the years, and it could still be more diverse, and I'm still working on it. And I will continue to strive to be better at it. But that is all that idea of constructive criticism. When you have people who you admire who are saying, hey, you might want to try this, you really should take a look around and say, are they right or are they not? And absolutely, in my case, they were right. And I am not too afraid to say they were right. And I'm a better historian for bringing more people in. I'm not the best. I'll never be the best. I don't even like the term expert. But we can be better each and every day. Those small victories make us better. Constructive criticism also makes us better when it comes from people who we admire, trust, and love. Okay? Don't let this stuff stick in your head. Overly negative people. If you wouldn't take their advice, why are you concerned with how they feel about you personally? Let me repeat that. If you wouldn't take their advice, why are you concerned about what they think of you personally or even professionally? Get those voices out of your head, in one ear, out the other. Let it out. And do the same thing with overly positive praise. Don't let an abundance of praise get in your head and stick there. This is how ego starts. The balancing act that I'm talking about is you have to allow both of those to go through, but also allow for that constructive criticism and allow for someone to come up once in a while and pat you on the back and say, hey, we really appreciate what you do. But when they say you're the greatest or you walk on water or whatever else, no, don't let that stick. Don't listen to that. That's got to go in one ear and out the other, or you're going to be in a bad situation later on when someone tells you that it's not true. It could stick in there and you're like, it could be detrimental to your future. So overly negative and overly positive. Allow that to go in one ear and out the other. Very, very important for us to consider. And I was never taught that when I was younger. I was especially leaving the negative people in because I was a people pleaser and I was trying to be good for everyone. And I sometimes I just can't. And it's okay. Fueling that passion. Maintain a network of peers around you who dream as you do. I come from a place where I was surrounded by some people who were not dreamers. They just went with the flow. said things like, well, we've been doing it like this for 30 years and other things. And I'm not built that way. I love to dream big and try to get those small victories out of that big idea. So I need to be pushed. So let people push you to do more, to be better, to try something new. Find yourself a mentor who also does the same. I lacked a mentor when I was younger. I needed a mentor. So go find one before it's too late with that. Keep a journal, a blog. I actually had a vlog on here, and I think that maybe aged me. I put a blog instead, or a social media site like I have to document your journey. This is not about showing people what all you know. This is about showing people your documentation of your journey from goal to goal to goal, those small little battles. It's about the process, not the goal. So people come onto my Instagram and they're like, why is he posting a picture of his cat? Because the cat is part of my life and she is basically my boss. You know, when I have office hours, she has office hours. You're not going to come onto my page and see this day in history every day. That's not what I do. I follow pages that do that because I love pages that do that, but that's just not me. That's not what I am. That's not who I am. That's part of being authentic, everybody. You have that ability to do something which talks about you and your life and your experience. You don't have to look like everybody else. In fact, I don't want you to look like everybody else. I want you to be your own person. So it's about documenting that process. That is a big, big deal. I even document when I have technical failures. I document when we're behind the scenes doing some things on a shoot, things like that, because some people really enjoy that. They want to know how we set things up and everything else. So that really nice final product that you see from many creators, and that's all you see. I respect that, but I love when you get to see the stuff that kind of goes wrong behind the scenes, like, "Oh, I forgot the batteries today," or the camera just died, or my microphone just died, and here I am standing out in the rain, because it makes it more real. And I know that some of my audience really enjoy that and get a kick out of it, and it also allows you to laugh at yourself, and I think we need to have a little bit more of that. Follow creators online who make you want to do more with the thing you're passionate about. Don't follow creators because you're jealous. Don't follow creators because, they're the sexiest ones out there. Follow them because they make you want to do more. They want to help you get to the next step. That's what we want. I want people to follow me who want to do more with history. I want people to follow me who want to be passionate about the past. And if I can help one person get ahead in the history field, I'm going to feel great. I love that because again, we're not competing. We're helping each other. Okay. Be kind to your mind. These are numbers that you may call. And since I'm in Canada now, I put the Canadian number up there as well. These are numbers that you can call in case you need someone to speak with. Uh, I promote this stuff a lot because I see some people in different walks of life who could benefit. And so I put this on a lot. Use these resources that are available to you in your local community, at your university, at your college, wherever. I never want you to be afraid to ask for help. Okay? This is not a history thing. This is a life thing now. Uh, I struggled with anxiety. I struggled with depression. I struggled with suicidal thoughts for years. And it's very important for you to not feel like that. I don't want you to ever have that darkness inside of you. But if you do, I want you to know that there are resources out there for you. And that is a huge benefit for all of us. Is this a foolproof system? Are the numbers always, are you going to wait in line sometimes on these numbers? Maybe, but it's something. And if there's a little bit of hope, then that helps a great deal. So keep that on your person. 988 in both Canada and the United States for any sort of help with for someone to talk to. And remember the purpose. Our work can have a profound effect on the communities around us. Remember, historical memory is so strong and it's ever changing. It's a fluid thing, historical memory, and we can help promote good history, which may over time impact historical memory. We must strive to be accessible, to be authentic. As you can tell by my style, I'm very authentic. Sometimes I'm just this open book and I just say it like it is in my life because I don't like liars or anything like that. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Integrity and inclusivity in all things. I like a big community of people of all walks of life. Uh, that is going to make the history field so much stronger. And remember that hurt people will try to hurt people. Uh, don't pass that negative on to others. If someone hurt you, don't pass that on to someone else. That's not fair. It's not right. um, you must try to help stop the tide of negativity. And it happens one person at a time. Remember how often we would go to like the coffee shop and someone would pay for the person behind them in line? We're going to do the opposite as far as negativity. We're going to catch it and we're not going to let the next person get it. That's the key to moving forward and making our craft even more positive in spite of the fact that funding has been cut, in spite of the fact that jobs are harder to get. We have a higher purpose, and our passion for this underscores that. And as I say on that last line, our legacy depends on it. I started the Tattooed Historian brand because I wanted a positive legacy. I wanted some sort of legacy to leave behind because I am the last in my family. I'm an only child. My mother was an only child. I have no children. So this is it. So I got to leave a positive legacy behind. And I'm hoping that what I do with my brand is going to leave behind a positive legacy. I am grateful to be here. I'm grateful to each of you for being here this evening for this discussion. If you are able to, you can scan that QR code, and that will take you to my link tree where you can find out where all I am online. You can follow me on any social media platform you're on. There's a YouTube channel as well, and other places where I would love to see you and have you as part of the conversation. But again, I am so thankful to be here talking about such an important issue. And I am grateful for the opportunity to be 43 years old and be in a PhD program and be around people who I admire and who I collaborate with and don't compare myself to. And I hope that you are in a similar situation. And I thank you so much for your time this evening. And I want to thank CG again for inviting me back for a very different kind of talk in the history field.
Well, thank you, John, for this lovely talk. Um, I was taking notes the whole time because I can't help myself. It feels like I'm back in school.
I saw you taking notes. I'm like, okay, here we go. That's good.
Don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we can open everything up now if anyone has any questions or just wants to share anything with the class.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Everyone's afraid.
I see that.
Yes.
That's okay. Okay, well, maybe I'll go first then, since
Sure.
yeah. No, as John mentioned, I have reached out to him through social media. And it wasn't the first time for just inviting him to do this kind of thing. I think John and I have actually talked about this before when I had invited him last May. But I actually reached out to John during my master's program so that way I could get a feel of like what was going on during COVID for people working in our field and like what they were doing. And
Mhm.
you were one of 8 people who was willing to at least chat with me, which was really nice. because like as a student during that time, it was really strange, and I knew a lot of mental health issues were rising for people, but uh, I wasn't quite sure like how it was affecting our field, and I wasn't even in it yet, so I was just like really curious at the time.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but getting to know you and listening to all your stories, like whether it's watching you on Twitch, it has definitely been an interesting journey, just like watching and listening, because it gives me ideas of what to do on my social media. Because I know both you and your wife both follow me, and I follow you
Mhm.
guys back, and I love watching what you guys do, so
Thank you.
including Kitty. Uh,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, just the fact that like one of your other platforms that sparked this conversation, I think was really helpful.
Mhm. No, I thank you for following along on Twitch, especially because that was a wild card one. But
Yeah.
it's the idea of accessibility has always been big to me. And when you reached out via Instagram and Messenger, I was I read all the messages, and I read yours, and I'm like, yeah, we need to set something up and do something and create some evening together doing history, whatever the case may be. And as you said, it was during uh, one of the points of the pandemic, and there were many instances where we had to come together and create just to get through. And I know you had some questions about some things, and all of us were questioning things in different ways. But trying to figure out where the history field was going to go post pandemic was a really interesting question, too. And I'm glad that we got together to promote some good history and have a fun time because that's what it's really all about.
Sorry, I saw a chat and I'm like, what's going on in the chat?
Oh, that's good. I thought I saw a chat bubble pop up, but I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. Is there anyone who has any questions or just wants to say anything out there?
Don't be afraid.
'Cause I'm terrified all the
Come on.
time.
Come on now.
I mean, all right, that's fine. That's fine. If you guys don't have any questions or anything like that too. Um, I actually, so leading up to this talk, John, I was actually trying to like think of some things in case there was, the questions or comments, but um, most most of the people I think I've seen some of the names that are still here with us. Either I've worked with them or I've met them in passing, or one of them might be a member. Who knows?
Yeah.
But as I was like leading into this, I was like, man, I was like, I wonder like how we're gonna approach this, what we're gonna talk about. And one of the things I was just kind of curious about, because you are in the field as well, but it's a different type of atmosphere for you now. But when you do have like those like overwhelming, stressful days, like is there anything in particular that you like to do to kind of like decompress your mind? I know for me, I like going to the gym, or maybe I'll play like a colorful video game because it's
Mhm.
colorful and it's calming.
Mhm.
Or just if there's anything like that that you like to do.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm as John McFarland asked in the chat here. He said you should explain the benefits of good coffee. That usually is what I do. I go try to have a coffee in a peaceful spot. There's some nice coffee shops around, but I'm also a 10-minute walk from Lake Ontario, and there's some nice benches there. And I try to just get away and disconnect for a little while. Disconnecting in our era is very tough. We are never more than like 4 feet from a phone. So that is a really important point, though, is just disconnecting from what is stressing you out for a little while. And like you say, it could be a video game, it could be a book, it could be going for a walk, or going for coffee like I do. Coffee literally saved my life. It was one of those things where I had to replace alcohol with something, and coffee was next. So I think I find solace and comfort in that in a different way, right? It's an escape. We all need our escapes, and it's huge to have that. I'm now like into Animal Crossing for some reason, and so I kind of, instead of watching the news, I play Animal Crossing. I'm replacing something that depressed me
Yeah.
was something that I can at least go to bed and put my head down and go to sleep and, not have to worry about so much. Having an outlet for your anxiety and being able to almost put it into a box and, throw it in a closet, so to speak, that's huge. Find yourself something that makes you happy and doesn't hurt yourself or hurt others. Go to a good coffee shop. Go get some tea, if you will. Go find a gaming store or whatever you're into. Take the dog for an extra walk or something. There's ways that you can disconnect from that negative that uh, are really, really important to your future, and you'll be better for it, but you'll also be a better historian for it because your mind will be clear of those negative ideas and thoughts and that. I saw a huge change in my anxiety when I moved here because I was now pursuing what I was told I could never do. And again, it's going back to that kind of positive chip on the shoulder, being underestimated. Uh, I've wanted to prove to myself because I'm the first in my family to go to a university. I wanted to prove that I could do it. So when you're in your zone, you can find solace, and good coffee helps, as John McFarland says. Very, very good coffee.
Yeah. And that to recommend reading Atomic Habits.
Yes,
Habit.
John,
Yeah.
that's a fantastic book. Atomic Habits is a fantastic book. You'll want to go get that. If you have not read it, go to your local library and give them some love too.
We have a late join. There's another chat.
Sure.
No, just let's see. It says, "Thank you, John." This is from Christine Messer. She says she's really appreciative of the straightforward presentation that you have. I'm sure you can see this on the screen too. I don't know why I'm reading it to you. But also hearing that you have anxieties and that you're willing to speak about it is encouraging because she also has chronic anxiety.
Thank you, Christine, for that. Yeah, thank you for that, Christine. That's why I'm so open and honest about what how should I say this? The dark times in my life, the hard times in my life, because someone else is going through that now. And they need to hear someone that maybe they watch on a random live stream or like this. They need to watch someone who's presenting who also has had that happen to them, because sometimes I think we put presenters on a different pedestal and we really shouldn't. We're just as weird as everybody else in some ways. But we have these anxieties as well. We have issues of am I a real historian? Because people have said you're not, or you're anxious about something else that's going on in the world around you and other things. So I totally understand the idea of chronic anxiety from from that standpoint. And I know that it's very hard sometimes to separate yourself from whatever is causing the anxiety. It's not as easy as going to a coffee shop for everybody. Totally get it. Totally understand it. Uh, but if we can slowly start to chip away at the huge thing that's causing the anxiety, we chip away at it little by little. Like it's like the goal thing. The process of moving forward is a process and it is something to be celebrated. So I hope that you find solace, Christine, with with what is it troubling you with anxiety. I know that there are times I still have a little bit of that. It's human nature for a lot of us, especially in the times in which we live, where some things are so questionable or we don't know what's going to happen next. And there's just some times in my life where I just have to literally disconnect from what is causing the anxiety for me. And luckily, I can do that through like a video game or even live streaming like this. This is my fuel. I love doing this. I love when a camera's on, it's game time. We're having fun. Uh, and sometimes I just live stream for a couple hours because I know that's my outlet and I know it's what I love to do. Maybe yours is some other kind of a hobby. Christine. Um, and that's great. Double down on that, and don't worry about what other people say about you doubling down on it. It's yours. Own it and appreciate it, and I'm sure you will.
Is there anyone else who has a question they want to throw in the chat, or if you don't want to disable your mic, that's fine too.
This is starting to turn into Dr. Phil without the baldness. Okay.
Oh, oh, there's another one here. It's quite long.
Come on in. Keep
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
Let's see. Kendra, I appreciate that you mentioned that you can do other things with a history degree. I have my BA in history and I work in state government. Unfortunately, going back to get my master's grad degree is not in the cards and I can't move. So my opportunities to get a history related job was extremely limited in my area. And I felt like I had to cop out. Ah, Kendra, been there. Uh, yeah, I was stuck in Pennsylvania for a while and born and raised there. I shouldn't say stuck as in a negative, but I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. So I understand what you're trying to say there, um, and that happens a great deal. Uh, it's not in the cards. You can't move right now, but you never know what the future holds, right? And I tell a lot of my seminar students this. They are 21, 20, and stuff like that. And they are constantly being told they have to have life figured out. And I'm like, I'm 43 and I still don't have it figured out. Okay. You could live in our lifetime and not be my age, and you're still maybe not going to have it figured out. Uh, so you don't know what's going to happen, Kendra, in the next few years, or even 6 months, or 5 years. You never know. Things could happen that you did not expect. I know my life in 2018 is a lot different than my life in 2024. 180 degrees difference, uh, happiness through the roof now, but night and day. So I don't want you to think that you can't do that because life is long. People say life is short. Life is long, man. When you really look at it, you got a lot of time. I was thinking the other day of 20 years ago, and it seems like a lifetime ago. So yeah, but congratulations on having your BA and working in state government. I know that's not an easy task. I applied for state government jobs and never had an interview. So, you've gotten further than I ever could imagine to. So, congratulations on that. That's a great thing to celebrate. CG, do you have any more questions? Because I don't. I like to put you on the spot when we're live. You're gonna be like, this man is never coming back on.
No, you're basically gonna get more, I'm sure. Oh, she has.
Well, we inherited a house and we can't sell it due to restriction. Ah,
No.
you'll be free once you retire. Hey, you'll still be free, right? You
There
still got time. You still got time,
there
and
you
you'll have a lot more money by then. So hey,
go. Alright. Well, John, I have no more questions.
okay,
Like I said, I wanted to make sure everyone else had a chance to ask anything if they had
yeah,
something to ask, or say
yeah.
something in chat if they uh, had. Well, thank you, John.
Oh, thank you, John. John McFarland is one of my. He's a constant in my events. I remember when I started my Twitch channel, John was like, "I don't know if I want to sit around and watch you play video games," and then he's there in every one of them. So it's one of those things you don't know until you try. And John is always there and has been a supporter on my Buy Me a Coffee site and other sites, and I really appreciate you being here, John.
Well, it seems like everyone has asked their questions or shared their stories, at least for those who would like to. Um, I want to thank you again, John, for just doing this.
Thank you for
Coming on
allowing me
and
to do this.
yeah. And you've now dug yourself your own little grave where you're going to stay with us and come on more often. Yes.
My inbox is always open. I'm always, gonna be available for the Cumberland County Historical Society and for you, because, you've treated me so well, and, I'm really happy to have a digital home with all of you there as well, and it's my little contact with my previous state, so it's all good. I wanna thank you for running the live stream and for doing such a great introduction and the questions and all that. I've believed in you from the start that you could do a great introduction, and you haven't proved me wrong. There you
All right. Well,
go.
and thank you to everyone else who was here from the beginning, came in later on, and thank you
Thank you,
all for being
everyone.
here.